Welcome to the Thinking Director channel, where thinking differently leads to living differently. We've talked a lot about money, about inflation, debt, risk, and opportunity, about how silent streams of capital reshape everyday lives, about macroeconomic decisions and modest dinners at home. But if we had to boil it all down to a single question, it might be this: is money serving you, or are you living inside someone else's dream? Thought balloon. In today's world, money isn't just a tool. It's a collective dream, a shining illusion that everyone is chasing, even though most don't know where they're running to. You work extra hours to afford a new car. You skip a family vacation to invest in a high-return opportunity. You stay up late to watch the markets, afraid of falling behind. And somewhere in the rush, you forget why you started chasing money in the first place. Brain, we weren't born to accumulate digits in a bank account. We were born to feel peace, freedom, and meaning. But without awareness, money can steal those very things, in exchange for a hollow sense of success. Speech balloon. I once met a man in his 60s. Gray hair, still glued to market charts every morning. I asked him, "Haven't you earned enough? Can't you finally rest?" He smiled, a bit sad. "Maybe, but I'm afraid, if I stop, I won't know what to do with myself." That silence stayed with me. Seedling. When left undefined, money becomes a fear. Fear of being less, fear of not having enough, fear of losing control over what's ahead. But when used with awareness, money becomes an anchor for freedom. Shield. Awakening within the dream of wealth doesn't mean you stop making money. It means you start choosing your life, instead of letting money choose it for you. You may not be the richest person in the room, but if you sleep peacefully, live simply, stay debt-free, and stay true to yourself, then in your own way, you've already won. Bullseye. Remember this: finances are part of life, but they are not all of life. Happiness doesn't come from how much you have. It comes from whether you're living in alignment with what truly matters. Studio microphone. Thank you for walking this journey with me. I hope after each episode, you gained not just more knowledge, but a bit more clarity and courage to take ownership of your life. Starting with how you think about money. And if I had to summarize this whole podcast series in one sentence, it would be this: protect yourself before protecting your wealth. In this life, we often get distracted by loud things. The media headlines, stock charts that flash red or green, the voices telling us what's hot right now. But the real truth of an economy, the real truth of your personal finances, often flows silently, in the form of cash flow. Light bulb. Cash flow is never loud. It doesn't show off, but it tells the truth better than any economic report. Want to know how a business is doing? Don't ask the CEO. Don't just look at profits. Look at the flow of money in and out. Same goes for a family. Same goes for a country. Same goes for you and me. Bar graph. You can own assets worth $1 million, but if your income stops flowing, you feel broke faster than you think. That's the secret many ignore. We chase net worth, but neglect the rhythm of income and expense. Thought balloon. Think of cash flow like the blood in your body. Assets are your bones and muscles. They look strong, but without blood moving through, everything collapses. So the question isn't just, what do I own? The question is money flowing into my life consistently, sustainably, quietly? Brain. Many people get stuck in a trap. They don't actually have positive cash flow, but they're surviving on debt flow. It feels the same until it doesn't. Credit cards, buy now pay later, short-term loans. Everything seems fine until the bills catch up. Bullseye. A healthy financial life isn't built on image, it's built on flow. Even if you don't have much, if money flows in steadily and leaks out with purpose, you are safer than someone living large but bleeding cash every month. So stop asking, how much do I have? Start asking, how is it flowing? Where does it leak? Can I slow it down? Guide it, make it flow in the right direction? Magnifying glass. Look around. The most successful people, not just rich, but resilient, are the ones who understand and protect their cash flow. They may not own flashy cars, but they have enough for the unexpected. They invest with patience. They sleep without anxiety, because their money isn't just sitting. It's moving in rhythm with their life. Speech balloon. Cash flow is invisible, but it's what makes everything visible possible. It's not the spotlight, it's the current underneath the stage. Ignore it, And you'll wonder why your finances always feel one step behind. Respect it, and you'll realize you don't need more things. You need better flow. Studio microphone in the next episode. We'll dig deeper into this quiet force. How inflation quietly steals from your flow. And how to recognize the signs before it's too late. See you in part 2 when inflation arrives quietly. Inflation doesn't knock. It doesn't send a warning text. It slips in, softly, almost politely, and makes itself at home. And by the time you notice, it's already been living in your kitchen, your gas tank, and your grocery cart for months. Shopping cart. You go to the store. Same shopping list, same routine, but the total? Somehow it's always a little more than last time. At first, you shrug it off. Maybe I grabbed an extra snack. Prices fluctuate, that's normal. But then it happens again. And again. And soon, you're buying less, but spending more. That's when you realize, it's not just the prices that change. It's the value of your money that shrank. Flying money. That's what inflation does. It doesn't take your money away. It just makes your money buy less. And unlike a market crash, which screams loudly and makes headlines, inflation whispers. It creeps into your life without chaos. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. Bar graph. Historically, inflation is called a silent tax. But it's more than that. It's a slow erosion of trust in your money, your plans, your future. You save for years, thinking you're building security. Then one day, what used to buy peace of mind can barely cover the basics. Brain. And here's the hard truth. Most people don't realize they're falling behind until it's too late. Because they didn't overspend. They didn't do anything wrong. They simply stood still, while inflation quietly moved the finish line further away. Warning. But why does this matter for you? Personally? Because if you don't adjust, if your income stays still while your expenses rise, you're not just standing still. You're going backward. That's the illusion inflation creates. It tricks us into thinking we're okay. Until we feel the weight of invisible losses. Push pin. So what can you do? 1. Watch your lifestyle creep. When everything costs more, you don't need to match that with bigger spending. Instead, redefine what enough means to you. 2. Invest wisely, not reactively. Inflation tempts people to chase risky returns. But in reality, slow, stable, value-driven investing beats panic every time. 3. Build flexible income. If your paycheck stays flat year after year, inflation will chip away at your quality of life. Look for ways to grow your income through skills, side income, or smart positioning. Speech balloon. Inflation doesn't care if you're a hard worker. It doesn't reward loyalty or savings. It rewards those who adapt, who pay attention, who act before the pressure becomes unbearable. Wave. You don't need to panic, but you do need to prepare. Because in a world where value is always shifting, the ones who stay awake win. Studio microphone. In the next episode, we'll talk about what happens when value isn't just lost quietly, but when entire markets shake, and you're left wondering, how do I protect myself when the storm arrives? See you in part 3 when the market shifts. Not everyone survives. There's a moment in every storm when the sky changes color. But most people don't notice it until the rain starts falling. That's what it feels like when the market turns. At first, things seem fine. Stocks go up, real estate booms, everyone's making money. Optimism becomes the default emotion. But then, something shifts. Maybe it's interest rates rising. Maybe it's a global event, a debt crisis, a policy change, or maybe it's nothing visible, just the quiet exhaustion of a system pushed too far. And suddenly, what felt like certainty becomes volatility. Downward trend. When the market turns, people panic. They sell in fear. They buy in desperation. They chase trends. They cling to old strategies that no longer work. And in that chaos, something painful becomes clear. Not everyone was ready. Some built castles on sand. Some ignored the warnings. Some thought the wave would never come. Speech balloon. But let me tell you this. The market doesn't punish everyone equally. It punishes those who didn't prepare. Because markets, like nature, don't reward strength. They reward resilience. Brain. So how do you survive the turn? 1. Know what you own, and why. Many investors buy assets because someone told them it's a good deal. But when fear strikes, if you don't understand what you're holding, you'll sell too early or hold too long. 2. Keep your emotions in check. Fear and greed are the loudest voices during market swings. But true investors listen to a quieter voice: discipline. 3. Build buffers before you need them. Emergency funds, multiple income streams, flexible spending habits. When the storm hits, your past discipline becomes your present shield. Wave in a market boom. Everyone looks like a genius. But when things fall apart, you'll see who was truly wise and who was just riding the wave without a plan. Flying money. I've seen people lose everything, not because the market was unfair, but because they believed it would always go up. They bought at the top. They borrowed too much. They believed they were immune to risk. But no one is immune. Not you, not me, not even the smartest people on Wall Street. Bullseye. The real question is not, will the market turn? Because it always does. Cycles are part of the game. The real question is, will I still be standing when it does? Building construction. Build your financial house like you expect a storm. Not because you're pessimistic, but because you're realistic. And in that realism lies a powerful kind of peace. You don't fear the turn, because you're built to survive it. Studio microphone. In the next episode, we'll shift from defense to insight. We'll explore why so many people mistake debt-fueled growth for success, and how to avoid falling for the illusion of wealth. See you in part 4, the debt mirage, when growth isn't real. Sometimes we confuse motion with progress. We see numbers going up, account balances, housing prices, portfolio values, and we think we're becoming wealthier. But not all growth is real. Some of it is borrowed. Credit card. There's a quiet illusion that money creates when it's borrowed, not earned. Your life expands faster than your income. Your lifestyle improves, but your freedom shrinks. You appear to be growing while your foundation weakens. And the dangerous part? It feels good. Better car, nicer home, fancier vacations, all within reach, thanks to credit. Brain. This is how the illusion begins. You're not living above your means, not yet. You're just leveraging opportunities. You're investing in yourself. You're using good debt. Until one day, it's not good anymore. Downward trend. Because borrowed growth is fragile. It depends on things staying exactly right. Low interest rates, steady income, strong markets. But life doesn't promise that. And when one variable changes, the illusion breaks fast. Collision. We saw it in 2008. People bought homes they couldn't afford, thinking prices would always go up. Banks loaned freely. Investors followed blindly. And when the music stopped, millions paid the price for a dream built on debt. Speech balloon. But this isn't just about housing bubbles or market crashes. It's about a mindset. A mindset that says, if I can borrow more, I can live more. If everyone else is doing it, it must be safe. If the bank approved me, I must be okay. But approval is not protection. And access is not wisdom. Bullseye. Real wealth isn't what you own on paper. It's what you can keep when everything shifts. It's not about how big you can grow, but how strong your roots are beneath the surface. So ask yourself, am I growing, or am I expanding on credit? Am I buying assets, or just accumulating liabilities dressed as upgrades? Am I building something that can last, or something that just looks impressive today? Light bulb. Sometimes, the strongest move isn't to go bigger. It's to pause, to stabilize, to create margin, to reclaim ownership over your finances before your finances own you. Pushpin. In a world obsessed with more, choosing less can be revolutionary. Because freedom doesn't come from having more things. It comes from needing fewer things to feel okay. Studio microphone. In the next episode, we'll dive even deeper into this idea, exploring what it means to lead your financial life, to take back control in a noisy world, and design your future on your own terms. See you in part 5, leading your financial life, choosing your own future. Have you ever stopped, truly stopped, and asked yourself, whose financial plan am I living? Is it your own? Or is it your bank's, the one offering special loans and lines of credit? Is it driven by ads convincing you to reward yourself with things you don't need? Or is it shaped by a culture that's constantly comparing, competing, and pushing you to keep up? Speech balloon. In today's world, if you don't lead your own financial life, someone else will. And when that happens, they won't prioritize your freedom. They'll prioritize their profit. Compass. So what does it mean to lead your financial life? It's not about being rich. It's not about beating the stock market. It's not even about saving every penny. It's about this: living with intention when it comes to your money. Actively choosing how you earn, keep, and use your resources. Designing a future that reflects your values, not someone else's expectations. Pushpin people who lead their financial lives often do a few simple but powerful things. 1. They know where their money goes. They may not track every cent, but they understand the key flows: income, spending, saving. 2. They know what enough looks like. They don't chase wealth without purpose. They define success by how they live, not by how they look. 3. They plan, but they stay flexible. They don't over-restrict. They know that discipline plus adaptability equals sustainability. 4. They say no often. To risky investments, to lifestyle pressure, to toxic comparison. They say no so they can say yes to what really matters. Shield financial leadership doesn't require a finance degree. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to start asking better questions. Questions like, do I spend from a place of purpose or from stress? Habit or fear? Could I live well with less? If I lost my job for 3 months, would I be okay? Am I working towards something real, or just avoiding falling behind? Thought balloon. I once met a friend who lived simply. He didn't chase high returns. He didn't take on debt. He didn't play the comparison game. He wasn't a millionaire, but he had time freedom. He did work he loved. He never stressed over money. He told me, I don't want to be rich like other people. I just want to live by my own design and not do things I hate for money. That stayed with me. Brain leading your financial life isn't about knowing everything about money. It's about knowing yourself, your limits, your priorities, and then making money serve those things, not control them. Seedling. And here's the truth. Once you begin to lead your financial life, you'll start leading in other areas too: time, relationships, career, health. Because money isn't just a tool. It's a mirror. And when you take the lead, your whole life begins to align. Studio microphone. In the next episode, we'll zoom out from the individual to the collective. What happens when entire nations live on borrowed money? And what lessons can we learn from them to keep our own lives from slipping into the same trap? See you in part 6: Nations in Debt and Lessons in Awareness. The world is in debt. Not just individuals, not just corporations, but entire governments, entire economies, the global system itself. You may not think about it often, but right now, global public debt has surpassed $300 trillion, more than the combined GDP of the entire planet. World map: from the US to China, Japan to Europe, no nation is operating without debt. They borrow to build, they borrow to spend, they borrow to sustain the illusion of growth, and then they borrow again, just to pay the interest on the last round. This isn't a sign of failure by a few unstable governments. This is a global pattern, one where everyone is running just to avoid falling behind. But what happens when the entire system is built on borrowed time? We become a world living off the future of our children, of generations who haven't even been born, who never voted, who never agreed, but who will one day pay for the choices we're making now. Downward trend: when a country borrows too much, there are 3 common consequences. 1. Rising inflation. The fastest way to ease debt pressure is to devalue money. 2. Currency devaluation, making imports more expensive and daily life harder. 3. Cuts to public services, healthcare, education, retirement plans shrink under budget strain. And who suffers most? Ordinary citizens, people who never made the decisions, but who must now bear the consequences. Speech balloon: you might be thinking, I'm just one person, I don't run a country. Why should I care? Because what's happening on the national level mirrors what happens in every household. A nation that lives beyond its means through borrowing is no different than a family living off credit cards, spending today, borrowing to cover yesterday, and spiraling into a cycle of dependency. At first, it feels fine, but eventually, no one wants to lend anymore. Interest compounds. Debt becomes suffocating. Creativity, investment, growth, they all shrink under the weight. And the options become few. Cut, sell, or default. This is the path of both broken countries and broken lives. Shield. So what's the takeaway? 1. Don't build a life on a future you don't own yet. It's okay to invest and plan ahead, but have a safety net. Don't live like tomorrow is guaranteed to be better. 2. Don't assume sustainability is automatic. Even the greatest empires collapse, not from enemies, but from poor internal leadership and unchecked debt. 3. Most importantly, take personal responsibility. Every financial choice you make, spending, borrowing, investing, isn't just about you. It contributes to a wider financial culture around you. Globe, you don't have to run a nation to build something stable and strong. Just focus on leading your own personal economy with clarity, boundaries, and intention. That alone is a powerful act of resistance. In a world addicted to endless borrowing, a debt-ridden world needs more individuals who are awake, who know their limits, who know what is enough, who choose not to be swept up in the momentum of excess. Speech balloon. There's a quote I love. If you spend more than you earn, eventually you'll have to sacrifice what you love. Don't wait until your health, relationships, or peace of mind are the price. Because true freedom doesn't come from having more money. It comes from not being enslaved by debt. Studio microphone. In the final episode, we'll reflect on everything we've uncovered. Money can be a path to freedom or an illusion. How do you choose your path from here? See you in part 7, Awakening Within the Dream of Wealth. We've talked a lot about money, about inflation, debt, risk, and opportunity, about how silent streams of capital reshape our daily lives, about macroeconomic decisions and everyday meals at home. But if we had to reduce it all to a single question, it might be this: is money serving you, or are you living inside someone else's dream? Thought balloon. In today's world, money isn't just a tool. It's a collective dream, a glittering illusion that everyone is chasing, even though most don't know where they're running to. You work longer hours to afford a newer car. You skip family vacations to invest in something that promises quick returns. You stay up late tracking markets, afraid of falling behind. And somewhere in all that motion, you forget why you started chasing money in the first place. Brain. We weren't born to accumulate bank balances. We were born to feel peace, freedom, and purpose. But without awareness, money can cause us to sacrifice those very things, all in the name of progress. Speech balloon. I once met a man in his 60s, gray hair, still glued to market charts every morning. I asked him, "Haven't you earned enough? Can't you finally rest?" He smiled, a little sadly. "Maybe, but I'm afraid, if I stop, I won't know what else to do." That answer stayed with me. Seedling. When left unchecked, money becomes fear. Fear of not having enough. Fear of not being enough. Fear of losing control. But when used with clarity, money becomes an anchor for freedom. Shield. Awakening within the dream of wealth doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean rejecting ambition. It means choosing with awareness, not reacting out of fear. You may not have more than others, but if you sleep peacefully, live simply, carry no debt, and stay true to yourself, then in many ways, you've already won. Bullseye. Remember, money is part of life, but it is not all of life. Happiness doesn't come from how much you have. It comes from living in alignment with what truly matters. Studio microphone. Thank you for walking this journey with me. I hope these episodes didn't just give you financial knowledge, but helped you feel more aware, grounded, and empowered to live on your own terms. And if I had to summarize everything we've shared in one sentence, it would be this: protect yourself before you protect your wealth.